So impulse means a sudden, you can say a very short duration signal that is given for at a particular duration. So let us say at this point 0, we gave a signal, infinity signal, and at other points it is 0. So that is what we call as Dirac delta, delta t, that at t equals to 0 the value is infinity, and at all other points it is 0, and the discrete time counterpart of this delta t is what? Delta n. So what is delta n? At n equals to 0 the value is 1, the amplitude of the signal is 1, and at other points it is 0. So this is your impulse response. You can give the impulse response as shifted response. I don't want to give it at t equal to 0, I want to give it at t is equal to say 7. So what I will make? Delta t minus 7. So at 7 there will be a value, but at other points there won't be any value. Same thing goes with the impulse response in the discrete time domain. That will be delta n minus 7. So when this signal is given as an input, we call it impulse response. The second one is step response. So what is step response? Step response is when you have, what do you have? In case of step response, we have the signal of this type. That is, it will start from 0 and it is going, and the value is at 1. For all the other positive values of t, the value is 1. So there, before t equals to 0, it was 0, and then at this point there is a sudden increase or sudden rise in amplitude, and it reaches to 1 and it remains 1 throughout. That is your step response. So when you are giving input as a step signal, this is called the step signal. So when you are giving the input as a step signal, that is called the step response. And the circuit will behave according to that step signal or the step unit signal. Then it is called the step response. And what is the frequency response? The when you see the function of the circuit according at different frequencies, that is called the frequency response. This one can also be, both the signals can be given. In case of frequency response, you can give an impulse signal, you can give a step signal. But what you have to see is that you will have to map the amplitudes at different frequencies. You have to see the magnitudes at different frequencies. So that is your frequency response. Now frequency response is basically divided into two parts. Okay, we will do that first. Let us see this one. Impulse response is what? It is, if you want to convert impulse response to frequency response, you can do the fast Fourier transform, or you can do any type of Fourier transform, DTFT. And in case when you want to convert the impulse response to step response, you have to integrate it. And vice, if you want to go from step response to impulse response, you need to differentiate it. Okay. Now the next one. Now we come to designing a filter. What does it mean to design a filter? You have to design a filter to meet certain specifications. Basically, we meet the frequency response specification when we are designing any filter. So where the frequency response of any type of circuit is divided into two parts, that is your magnitude response and phase response. While designing, we are basically considering the magnitude response. Here we are going to design what kind of filters are really designable, really means which you can really design. So that is the real filter. So you know that this real filter will have a magnitude response which is symmetric. What does it mean by telling symmetric? Symmetric means at a certain, suppose it is symmetric about the point 0. So the way it is looking this side, the same way it is going to look at the other side. This is called symmetric about point equals to 0. And the phase response is going to be antisymmetric, that is an odd function. So this is the antisymmetric response. This will be a phase response for a filter, and this one will be the magnitude response. Why? Because we are going to design a real filter. When we are going to design a real filter, then the magnitude response is going to be symmetric and the phase response is going to be antisymmetric. Why it has to be symmetric and antisymmetric? Because this is a real filter. Okay. Now when you will do the Fourier transform of a real signal, what is the formula for the Fourier transform? So if you go into the detail of that, you will understand that why is it symmetric. Okay. Also, one more important thing, we need to only design for the frequencies between minus pi to pi, or any interval of 2 pi you can take. You can take from 0 to 2 pi. So any interval of duration 2 pi, only for that period we are going to designing. Now very important thing, we just now discussed a thing that we have to design according to certain specification. What is meant by that thing? So if you are designing, you can design in the time domain, you can design in the frequency domain. Both the approach of design is available to you, but mostly people design in the frequency domain. Because why do they do that? Because there are many graphical techniques, there are many mathematical graphical techniques available for designing filters in the frequency domain. Anyways, if you want to design it in the time domain, these are the specifications that you have to meet, that is the rise time, overshoot and the linear phase response. Now what is rise time? Suppose here we have a signal and this signal is going, say this is the, after this is, at this point it comes to 1, or you can say this is the final value. You can tell this is the final value of the signal. Okay, and this is the maximum value. So this from here, from 10% to the final value, the time taken, that is your rise time. So you have to modulate, or you have to work on this rise time, and you have to work on the overshoot. Overshoot is this full distance that you have over here. This is the overshoot. So you have to, when you are designing in the time domain, you have to see the rise time, you have to see the overshoot, and you have to see that it is linear phase. If it is symmetric, it will be linear phase. Okay, next thing, when you are designing it in the frequency domain, then these are the frequency domain parameters that you have to consider, or you have to look when you are designing it. That is flatness in the pass band, fast roll-off, and good stop band attenuation. These we will do on the next day also, but just now we are just going through it in a faster way. So now you can see over here. Before this, I will show you some ideal filters. Just see over here. This is your ideal low pass filter. You can see at this point between minus omega c to omega c, the amplitude is 1, and beyond this minus omega c and plus omega c, the value is 0. So this filter is designed such that it will pass the frequencies only between minus omega c to omega c. This is given in this is a frequency response. The same impulse response for this will be a sinc function, because this is a rect function. The Fourier transform of a rect is a sinc, and so when you are doing this, you are getting a sinc function over here. The main important thing over here is that this is the pass band for this signal, and this is the stop band. Now you can see that this is symmetric, around omega equals to 0. Now this is an ideal filter. You cannot have this type of one when you are actually designing it. There will be a fluctuation over here like this. So here we have shown you, just see over here, this is the ideal, this is the real thing, which when you will design, you will see that from here till here, this is the pass band. Okay, this part is called the pass band, this part is the stop band. Between this pass band and the stop band, you have the transition band. So what is happening is, here actually it should be 1, but you can see there are ripples over here. Here actually it should be 0, but you can see there are ripples over here. So this will happen when you are designing the filter, because this is not going to be an ideal filter. This is a practical filter. So this, how much from point 0 to say point omega c, we want it to be, here it will be suppose omega c. This is the omega p, this is the omega s. Okay. Now here you can see from 0 to omega p we want to pass it. So that is my pass band frequency. Okay. After that you have this stop band, after which you want to make it the value to be 0. So this is your stop band frequency. And this is the critical frequency, that is omega c. Between the pass band and the stop band you have the transition band. So the main story is here that you need to know the frequency range, which has to be the pass band, which has to be the stop band, the amount of the magnitude of ripple that is allowed in the pass band, and the magnitude of ripple. This one say this magnitude is say 0.3 dB. So I can maximum allowable is 0.3 dB. They will give you the design parameters. Like I want that it should not go more than if there will be ripples. Obviously, people will tell you there will be ripples, but it should not be more than 0.3 dB. So this way the specification is given to you. So let us keep it till here for the day, and we will do it the next day. Thank you.